The deep edge of known space was silent and cold, a place where stars burned weak and slow. This was the path of the Galaxy-Conquerors, a force that had moved across planets and systems for many lifetimes. They did not rush. They did not need to. Every world they met had fallen with little sound. Every fleet that faced them had broken and faded like dust in the dark. In this same region drifted a single human warship, small when compared to the vast alien armada. Its hull was dark silver, marked by long lines from past trials and tests. Inside, soft lights lit the narrow halls. The air smelled faintly of clean metal and warm circuits. This ship was not famous, and it was not meant for glory. It was a test ship, sent far from home to watch and to learn. Alex Carter stood at the main view panel. His hands rested behind his back and his face was calm but focused. He had short brown hair and eyes that watched everything with care. He had trained for years, and now he was here, at the border of something no human had ever faced before. Beside him checked Data on a floating screen. She had light hair tied back and a sharp look of thought. Her fingers moved fast, tracing lines of energy and strange signals. She did not speak much, but when she did, people listened. Jake Turner sat at the flight controls, relaxed in posture but alert in mind. His dark eyes flicked from screen to screen as he kept the ship steady. The silence broke when spoke in a soft tone. She said that the readings ahead were no longer natural. The energy pattern was wide and heavy, like a storm made of steel. Alex knew at once what it meant. The Galaxy-Conquerors were closer than anyone had thought. On the main screen, distant lights began to form. At first, they looked like faint stars. Then shapes came into view. Long, smooth forms, huge and cold, moved in slow lines. Their surfaces glowed with pale blue veins as if power ran through their skin. These ships did not look like anything human hands had built. Alex watched without blinking. He did not speak. Inside, he felt a slow pull of fear, but he did not let it show. This was why they had come. This was the unknown they were meant to face. Continued to scan. She said the fleet was massive, more than any record or story had warned. Jake let out a low breath and adjusted the ship's course to keep a safe distance. But even from far away, the size of the alien force was clear. It filled the dark with a calm power, like a moving wall of quiet intent. They moved toward a small human colony that rested on the edge of the system, a place of miners and families, simple people who lived under a pale sun. They had no defense against such a force. Alex knew this, and the weight of that knowledge settled deep inside him. He opened a comm channel to command, but only static replied. The signal was weak and broken. The distance was too far. For now, they were alone. Alex looked at Jake and said they would stay on course. They would observe and they would not run. The words were simple, but the meaning was heavy. Jake gave a slow nod, did not question him. The alien fleet continued its slow approach. Smaller vessels moved around larger ones with quiet care, like parts of one vast mind. No signals came from them. No threats. No warning. Only silence and steady motion. Inside the human ship, soft alarms whispered as systems adjusted. The adaptive core deep within the ship began to pull data, to learn every detail of the alien energy field. Watched this change with growing focus. She said the core was responding faster than expected, almost eager. Alex did not reply. He kept his eyes forward. He knew every second brought the colony closer to danger. He knew that their single ship stood between safety and ruin, even if the enemy did not yet care to notice it. The stars seemed dimmer as the first alien vessels crossed into the inner zone of the system. Their path was clear, direct, and without fear. They had done this before many times. Worlds always fell. Life always faded. That was the pattern they knew. Alex gave his first quiet order. He told Jake to move the ship forward, just enough to place them between the fleet and the colony. The motion was slow but sure. The human warship slid into a lonely position in open space, like a single stone in the path of a rising wave. Far ahead, one alien ship shifted slightly. Its smooth body turned as if now aware of the small presence before it. A thin beam of cold light traced across the human ship, scanning it. The light moved with calm precision, reading shape and form. Inside, the ship hummed as its shields answered, adjusting and holding. Watched the data change again and again. She whispered that the alien scan was deep and complex, but the core was gathering every pattern. Alex kept his voice low and steady. He said there would be no sudden moves. They would show no fear. This was not just a machine before them. This was a mind that judged by strength and silence. The silence stretched. Moments passed like slow drops of water. The alien fleet paused just slightly. The lead vessel remained still, its surface glowing faintly. Then, without sound, another scan reached out, stronger than before. Jake tightens his grip on the controls. He could feel the pressure in the air, even if it was only in his mind. Held her breath as the numbers rose higher and higher. The ship trembled, but the shields remained strong. Alex spoke again, this time into a broad channel. He sent a simple message into the dark. It carried no threat and no pride. It said only that this system was under human protection and that the path ahead was not clear. The message drifted, cold and small, into the vast void before the fleet. There was no answer, only silence and the faint glow of alien power. Then the scanning light faded. The lead vessel did not turn away. Instead, it moved forward once more, slow and certain. Behind it, the rest of the fleet followed, a silent tide pressing onward. Alex watched this with slow understanding. They did not care for words. They did not see the warning as anything more than sound. To them, this was still an empty road. He placed a hand on the command panel and felt the ship's heartbeat through the metal. He could feel the adaptive core shifting below, gathering knowledge, adjusting systems, preparing. Said the core was now predicting alien motions before they fully formed. It was learning at a speed no human mind could match. Jake said the ship felt more alive, as if it knew what was coming. Alex gave one more simple order. He told them to hold their place. No retreat, no advance, just a steady stand. The alien fleet continued its calm march. Space seemed smaller now, crowded by cold metal and quiet force. The colony world glowed in the distance, unaware of the storm moving toward it. Alex stood silent, eyes forward, heart steady. The first line had been drawn without sound or flame. And in the dark between worlds, where no hope had ever slowed the Galaxy-Conquerors before, a single human ship waited, still and unafraid. This was how the stand began, not with noise or fire, but with silence, resolve, and a quiet refusal to move aside. The alien fleet pressed forward with slow and certain motion, as if nothing could ever stand in its way. The human warship did not move. It remained between the path of the fleet and the distant colony, like a quiet promise that would not break. Alex Carter stayed at the front panel, eyes steady, breathing slow. He knew the time for simple watching was ending. The air inside the ship felt heavier, as if even the walls understood what was coming. Watched the stream of data rise and fall. Lines of symbols, shapes of power, and strange waves filled her screen. She spoke in a calm voice and said the alien ships were adjusting their energy fields. They were preparing for contact, even if they did not see the human ship as an equal threat. Jake Turner shifted his hand slightly on the controls. He kept the vessel centered, listening to the soft hum of the engines. Every small vibration told him the systems were alert and ready. A thin pulse of light moved from the lead alien vessel. This time it was not just a scan. It was sharper, narrower, and direct. It struck the human shields with gentle force, like a slow touch testing resistance. The ship trembled. Soft warning tones filled the bridge, but no alarms screamed. Noted that the shield held firm. The adaptive core responded at once, reshaping its surface layer to match the frequency of the alien pulse. Alex watched this with quiet focus. He gave no sign of alarm. Instead, he ordered the ship to maintain power levels and to answer with a controlled signal of its own. From the front of the human warship, a narrow beam of pale light reached out. It did not strike like a weapon. It only brushed the alien vessel, mirroring the same level of force. It was a clear message without words, an even exchange, a calm stand. For the first time, the alien ship slowed slightly. Its surface patterns shifted, as if it had found something unexpected. Behind it, other vessels adjusted their spacing, forming new shapes in the silent void. Whispered that the alien network had changed structure. They were sharing data across the fleet at high speed. They were learning too. Alex said they would continue to respond, not to attack. A steady presence was their strongest signal. The alien pulse came again, stronger now. It pushed against the shields with more intent. The ship shook harder. Panels hummed and energy flowed through every layer of metal. The core adapted once more, refining its shield pattern, spreading the force across a wider surface. Jake felt the controls warm under his hands. He made small adjustments to keep balance. Sweat formed at his brow, but his voice stayed clear. Alex leaned forward slightly. He knew this slow test was the edge of something larger. The alien force was measuring the limit, not only of the ship, but of the will behind it. Without warning, a second alien vessel moved around the first. Its shape was taller, with deeper glowing lines. It angled its body and released a broad wave of pressure. This time the impact was heavier. The human ship rocked in place. Dust fell from a loose panel edge. Faint sparks flickered near an outer console. Spoke faster now, saying the energy type had shifted again, more aggressive, more complex. The adaptive core reacted in a sudden burst of light across the shield dome. It adjusted its layer and pushed back gently, sending a return wave that matched the alien force with perfect balance. Across the void, the alien vessels hesitated. Their movement slowed to almost still. It was not retreat. It was a pause born of confusion. Alex saw this and knew the message had taken root. This was not prey that broke at the first touch. This was resistance that did not behave as expected. He ordered a quiet forward drift, just a few meters. The human warship moved closer to the lead vessel, keeping its shields firm and steady. It was a calm, bold act, like stepping closer to a storm instead of away from it. Said the sensors showed a change in alien response. Their fleet formation loosened, then tightened again. They were adjusting their stance around a single point, the human ship. In the dark, faint streams of colored light moved between alien vessels, silent exchanges that human minds could not fully translate. But the pattern was clear. They were now aware. Alex sent another message across open space. It was simple and direct. It stated that the colony behind them was not unguarded and that further advance would meet continued resistance. Still no threat, still no pride, only calm truth. The message faded. This time something answered. It was not a voice, not words, but a ripple across the sensor field, a pattern of light and tone that rose and fell like a slow breath. Eyes widened slightly as she tried to read its meaning. She said it carried structure, not emotion, but it was a signal of reply. Alex watched in silence. He knew that this was the first sign of true recognition. Then the alien fleet shifted again. Several vessels began to circle wider, taking new positions. Two moved forward beside the lead ship, shaping a clear line. The stance was no longer casual. It was prepared. Jake tightened his jaw. He said they were bracing for real force now. Alex nodded once. He gave quiet permission to raise defensive power to full level. The ship responded with a deeper hum, and the shields brightened like a soft, pale skin of light. Space felt tense, as if it held its breath. Then the strike came. 3 focused beams of alien energy erupted at once, sharp and bright, aimed directly at the human warship. They hit with crashing force. The bridge shook hard. Lights flickered and then steadied, gripped the edge of her console but did not scream. Jake fought the pull and kept the ship steady. Alex did not move from his post. The adaptive core rose to meet the onslaught. Layers of shifting light wrapped around the hull. The beams pressed, burned, and pushed, but the shield reshaped under every strain, bending but not breaking. Called out that the core was rewriting its own response faster than before. It was not only reacting, it was predicting. Alex felt a slow tightness in his chest. This was no longer a test. This was battle, even if no explosions yet marked it. He gave a clear but calm order. The ship would respond with a single controlled burst, aimed not to destroy, but to prove undeniable strength. The human warship released a focused wave of pure energy, shaped by the core. It carried balanced force and perfect precision. It struck the space before the alien lead vessel, not touching it, but making the void ripple and glow. The shockwave rolled outward, passing between ships, bending light and scattering loose energy. It was a display, not a kill. When the wave faded, the alien vessels remained still. Their beams ceased. The pressure dropped. Only the slow hum of distant power filled the darkness. For several long moments, nothing moved. Alex watched the fleet through the wide screen. He saw how their pattern had shifted again, more cautious now, less certain. The predator had met something that did not flee. Whispered that the alien energy frequency had changed, softer now, more measured. Jake said the ship felt the difference too. The human warship remained in place, steady and unbroken. Scars marked its shield surface, but its core pulsed strong and true. Alex lowered his hand slowly from the command panel. He knew this was only the first true clash, but he also knew something important had already happened. The Galaxy-Conquerors had learned that this path held resistance, real resistance. Beyond them, the colony still glowed under its pale sun, unaware of the silent struggle playing out in the cold dark between the stars. And between unstoppable advance and fragile life, one human warship continued to stand, calm, alive, and unyielding. The silence that followed the clash felt heavy and strange. The alien ships no longer pushed forward. They held their position in a wide line, glowing patterns slow and steady. The human warship remained in front of them, small but unbroken, like a quiet voice that refused to fade. Inside the ship, the air was tense but calm. Alex Carter stood still, eyes fixed on the image before him. His shoulders were stiff, yet his face showed no fear. He knew the enemy was not done. This pause was only a moment to think, to learn, and to choose the next move. Studied the data with full focus. Her screen flowed with shifting numbers and light waves. She said the alien fleet had moved to a new form of communication. They were adjusting not only their weapons but their logic. They were trying to understand the human response. Jake Turner let out a slow breath and rolled his shoulders. His hands did not leave the controls. He could feel small changes in the ship's balance, slight pressure changes in the void around them. He knew the next wave would come soon. Alex looked toward the distant colony and thought of the people there, families who slept under thin roofs, children who ran under open sky. They had no idea what stood between them and silence. This thought steadied his mind. Another signal spread through space, not sharp like before but wide and soft. A pattern of light and hum that touched the sensor field, narrowed her eyes and watched it. She said it was not a strike. It was a probe, but different from the earlier ones. This one carried form, almost structure, as if shaped by intent. Alex ordered no response. He wanted to see what came next. The pattern grew clearer. Faint lines of color moved in slow pulse. The alien ships shifted again to match it, forming a curved arc in front of the human warship. This was not a battle line. It looked more like a shape of attention. Said the signal might be an attempt to connect, not in words but in rhythm and variation, a form of careful testing. Alex considered this. He told her to route a low-level output through the adaptive core, Let it match the rhythm without adding threat, a gentle echo of the same pattern. The ship obeyed. A soft response flowed outward, mirroring the alien pulse with minor human variation. It was like a quiet voice answering another across a wide, dark room. The alien signal paused. Then it returned, slower now, deeper. Subtle shifts moved through the fleet. Ships adjusted their angles, their glow lines changing in color and flow. Jake watched this strange dance unfold. He said it felt like standing before something that thought in ways no human could map. The silence held again. Then, in a sudden shift, several alien vessels tightened their formation. Their outer layers burned brighter. This time, the energy that formed was sharp and rising. This was not communication. This was fear mixed with control. Alex knew the test of strength was not over. The alien fleet unleashed a wide field wave, not focused but broad, a rolling tide of force meant to overwhelm the shields through sheer spread and pressure. The wave moved like a slow wall, filling the space ahead. As it reached the human warship, the impact vibrated through every plate of metal. The bridge lights dimmed for a second. Panels groaned. Gripped the edge of her console again, jaw tight. Jake adjusted the stabilizers, fighting to keep balance. The adaptive core flared bright, reacting in layers, splitting the force, rerouting energy flow, spreading heat and pressure across the shield dome. The shield bent inward but did not break. Alex held his ground. His voice remained steady as he ordered a calculated counter, not aggressive, but strong enough to shift the moment. The ship focused its energy into a narrow beam and released it in a slow, controlled surge. The beam struck the center of the incoming wave and split it apart, sending broken streams of force drifting off into the void. Light rippled outward in long, fatting arcs. The alien fleet slowed again. They had seen their wide force undone, not by brute attack but by careful balance. Breathed out slowly, she said the core was now building a full profile of alien behavior, predicting response with growing accuracy. It was learning the enemy like a living puzzle. Alex knew they had reached another point of change. The alien force was no longer sure. It had never faced a presence that matched it in thought and calm force. In the distance, the colony orb turned slowly, still unaware, still safe for now. Then a new movement happened. A single alien vessel moved forward beyond the rest. Its form was slender and longer, with deeper light lines that pulsed in both pale blue and faint violet. It moved closer than any before, closing the gap with slow caution. Alex watched it carefully. He gave quiet orders for all systems to remain in defensive posture only. No pursuit, no chase, only stillness. The alien ship stopped several lengths away. A focused line of gentle light reached toward the human vessel. It did not strike. It hovered and pulsed softly, touching the outer shield like a careful hand. Watched the data shift and said the signal carried detailed pattern forms. It looked like deeper analysis, not surface scanning, something close to study or even curiosity. Alex said to answer again, but slower, softer, in a way that showed awareness without surrender. The ship responded with its own structured light pattern, subtle, controlled, clean, a quiet mark of presence. For a moment, both ships rested in this strange, still space, light brushing light. The other alien vessels remained still, forming a wide, silent ring around them. Jake whispered that the air felt heavy, even if there was no air. He said it felt like standing before a storm that chose not to fall yet. Alex kept his eyes on the lead display. He knew history was shifting in these quiet seconds, not through words but through measured acts of strength and calm. The alien ship suddenly pulled back a short distance. Then another wave of energy formed across the fleet. This one felt different, not harsh, not probing, but firm, a test of final measure. The wave surged forward, stronger than all before. The human ship shook hard. Systems strained under pressure. Small warnings pulsed across the bridge. grit her teeth and called for shield reinforcement routing. Jake fought the controls as the pull tried to shove them backward. Alex felt the strain through the floor beneath his feet, but he did not step back. He did not raise his voice. He only spoke clearly and told the core to give its fullest balanced response. The adaptive core surged with bright layered light. It reshaped its field into a dynamic curve that rolled the incoming energy away instead of bracing against it. The wave split and curved, flowing around the ship and fatting harmless into the void. The silence that followed was deeper than before. The alien fleet ceased all movement. Even the faint glow on their hulls steadied, dimmed slightly. The massive force that had bent entire systems now paused, as if thinking. Spoke in a low tone and said the alien signals had fallen into a steady rhythm. No aggression, no immediate rise, a state of decision. Alex understood the moment. He opened a wide channel again and sent a calm, structured signal one last time. It carried the meaning of boundary, the meaning of defense, the meaning of choice if they wished to pass in peace or not at all. He did not see the words. He only felt the weight of their meaning as they moved through space. For long moments there was no reply. The fleet remained still. The single forward vessel drifted back into formation. The line held. Then a subtle change shimmered across the alien ships. Their front row widened. The path that led deeper into the system shifted its angle slightly, no longer pointing directly at the human colony. It was not retreat, but it was not direct advance either. Alex watched this with slow focus. He saw the signal for what it was: hesitation, the first uncertainty the Galaxy-Conquerors had ever shown. Inside the ship, the tension did not leave, but it softened slightly. Jake let out a quiet breath he had held too long, leaned back just a little, eyes still locked on her screen. Alex allowed himself a single moment of stillness. This was not victory, but it was proof that the impossible could bend. Outside, the alien fleet held its new line, watching the lone human ship that had stood where no other had dared. And in that silent space between stars, the balance of power had shifted, not through destruction, but through calm resolve and fierce clarity. The alien fleet remained still for a long time, its vast form spread across the dark like a frozen sea of light and metal. No engines flared, no new beams formed. Only the faint glow of their surfaces marked their presence in the cold silence. Inside the human warship, the air carried a mix of quiet strain and slow relief. Alex Carter did not relax. He knew this moment was not the end, but a turning point. The Galaxy-Conquerors had not withdrawn, but they had also not continued forward. They had paused, and that pause meant something had changed. Watched the data with new care. She said the alien signals showed a stable pattern, neither rising toward attack nor fading into retreat. It was a strange middle state, like a held breath. Jake Turner shifted in his seat and rolled his neck once. He kept the ship steady, holding the same careful position that had brought them this far. His eyes remained sharp, scanning for any sign of sudden movement. Alex opened a low internal channel and ordered all support systems to maintain balance and readiness. No one spoke more than needed. Every sound inside the ship felt clear against the thick quiet of space. A soft wave of light moved again from the alien front line. This one was gentle and slow, similar to the earlier attempt at connection. Leaned forward and watched the pattern form. She said it carried structure like before, but now with slight variations, as if the alien mind behind it was adjusting behavior. Alex told her to match it once more. The adaptive core shaped a slow reply, calm and firm, not weak, not proud, simply present. The two patterns met in the void, light touching light. The movement felt careful, almost respectful. The alien vessels held their spacing, watching as the lone human ship continued to answer without attack. Minutes passed, then more. The distant stars shifted across the widescreen as time moved in slow quiet. Alex let his thoughts turn to the human colony behind them. He imagined the soft glow of homes, the steady hum of life, people eating, resting, dreaming. They had no idea a silent wall of threat had nearly reached them, and that a single vessel held it back. He knew they could not hold forever if the full force came again. But the adaptive core had already changed the nature of this meeting. It was no longer simple conquest. It had become a question in the mind of the Galaxy-Conquerors. Suddenly, the alien forward vessel shifted. It moved another small distance closer. Its glow lines pulsed slowly, and a new pattern of energy spread around it. The rest of the fleet stayed still, as if giving it space. Said the signal levels were different from anything before, more complex, more layered. This was not a test of shields or strength. This was something closer to a focused attempt at understanding. Alex felt the weight of this moment. He told the core to allow deeper interaction but keep boundaries firm. He trusted the system, but he did not forget caution. The human ship opened a limited interface field, allowing the alien pattern to brush the shell of adaptive energy more fully. Light shimmered like ripples on dark water. Inside the bridge, soft tones moved across the panels as data reshaped in response. Followed each change, describing what she saw. She said the alien signal carried fragments of shared information, not words, but images of logic flow and structural idea. It was a shape of thought, not a command. Alex stayed silent. He let the contact remain steady, careful, controlled. Jake watched the main screen as the alien vessel held its place, its surface nearly glowing with quiet focus. He said it looked less like a weapon and more like an eye. For the first time since the encounter began, Alex felt the deep tension shift into something else. Still dangerous, still unknown, but no longer only hostile. Another change rippled across the wider fleet. Distant ships adjusted their angles slightly, not to surround or press, but to give a broader path to the side. The line that once pointed straight at the colony now curved away even more. Alex saw it clearly. This was not just hesitation, this was decision. He sent a final strong but controlled signal, not of aggression, not of surrender, but of clear intent. The system behind them was not free ground, it was guarded, yet the message also carried the quiet promise of no pursuit if the fleet chose another path. The signal pulsed out, strong and steady. Long moments passed again, each one slow and heavy. Then the forward alien vessel further, sliding back to join the main line. The glow along its surface dimmed slightly, its pulse falling into steady rhythm with the others. Across the fleet, energy levels softened. Wide vessels at the edges began to shift course, their long forms turning away from the system center. It was gradual, measured, controlled. Spoke in slow disbelief and said the advance line was changing direction. The main force was rotating, not toward the colony, but toward another dark path between systems. Jake let out a quiet breath and said they were moving offline. Alex watched in silence as the massive armada adjusted. Ship by ship, the unstoppable force turned its front away from the fragile world it had been so close to consuming. No sudden retreat, no panic, just calm redirection, as if marking this space as not worth direct push. This was the first time in their known history that the Galaxy-Conquerors had chosen not to move forward. Inside the human ship, the sense of pressure faded slowly. The deep hum of strain eased. The adaptive core returned to a controlled, steady pulse. The bridge lights held their soft glow. Alex did not move for a long time. He stood and watched until the last of the alien line no longer pointed at the colony. When he finally spoke, his voice was low and calm. He told Jake to hold position and to continue monitoring. He told to log every detail of the exchange. There would be questions later. There would be fear and debate across human systems. But this moment would be the root of all that followed. Outside, the vast alien fleet now moved in a slow curve. its long bodies passing across the star field like a silent river of metal and light. The path of conquest had bent. Alex placed his hand on the forward panel again and felt the ship beneath him. The scars of strain marked its surface, but it remained whole. More than that, it had proven something no one thought possible. A lone human presence could stand before the greatest power in the galaxy and not be erased. Leaned back slightly, her face tired but clear. She said the core had stabilized and would continue tracking the alien fleet as long as possible. Jake nodded, still focused, but his jaw relaxed for the first time since the encounter began. Alex allowed a quiet moment of thought. He knew the Galaxy-Conquerors would remember this. They would not see humans as simple minds anymore. They would not see this region as empty or weak. A seed of respect, or at least caution, had been planted. Far away, the human colony orb turned in peace, its surface untouched and its people safe. The sky above them remained calm and familiar, unaware of the shift that had saved them. The alien armada continued on its altered course, leaving behind a trail of silent light and unanswered questions. It did not retreat in fear. It simply chose a different road, one that did not cross this quiet human stand. Alex remained at his post, watching until the fleet was only a distant glow. He knew this was not the end of contact between mankind and the Galaxy-Conquerors, but it was the first clear boundary drawn and honored. In the vast dark of space, where no single voice had ever slowed the march of conquest, a human warship had done so through calm strength, clear presence, and steady resolve. And from this moment forward, the balance of the stars would never feel quite the same again.